Karina here for MoBuzz TV with bad news for mischievous hackers. Gary McKinnon, the British hacker accused of causing up to $1 million in damages to US, NASA, and military computer systems, seems to have lost his battle. He was fighting extradition to the US. His lawyer claimed he was at risk of being tried as a terrorist, perhaps in a military trial, perhaps being detained at Guantanamo Bay. Since the rest of the world is a bit sensitive towards US policies in these matters, fighting McKinnon's extradition was painted as protecting his human rights. But Home Secretary John Reid decided he received sufficient assurances from the US that McKinnon's rights would be protected, and so Gary's going stateside. McKinnon's defenders in the UK claim that his possible sentence, decades in jail and millions in fines if convicted, would be disproportionately harsh for his crime. I do suppose if you're coming from a country where, as I read on the BBC, the average murderer serves 14 years, decades for fiddling with a computer might be hard to understand. Elsewhere in the UK, a battle is raging over the European Commission's renewal of the very happy, shiny-sounding TV Without Frontiers Directive. It's got a pretty nice name, and it's about making sure that all television is treated pretty much the same. Aw, equality, how lovely. So what's the UK's problem? And what's the problem of almost 500,000 businesses in 6 other European countries who also oppose the changes? The problem is twofold, but mainly it's that pesky internet, making it all complicated to even define what TV is these days. First off, say opponents, it's a regulatory nightmare. In the UK, if you have a TV, you have to pay for a license, which creates a ton of money for the BBC. But is watching TV from your PC TV? Or is watching a vlog from your PC TV? Which should you have to pay for? What about devices like Slingbox or Orb or that Novak Skype box we talked about yesterday, all of which allow you to watch television online? This is where definitions get slippery. But business groups are mainly worried that people will react to the new regulation by running as fast as they can from investing in these new technologies and markets in the UK, stifling development. Says John Cridland of the Confederation of British Industries, quote, "As drafted, this onerous directive will stifle economic growth, inhibit job creation, and hamper the development of digital content and services across the EU." Yikes. And finally, in the ever-expanding universe of social networking sites, we recently came across this one, which is organizing across some different lines. MuslimSpace.com, if you haven't already guessed, is a MySpace spin-off for Muslims. It was created by Mohammed El-Fatatri in Finland as an alternative to what he, and apparently many other Muslims, considered an unpleasant atmosphere on MySpace. El-Fatatri said he created it for folks who, quote, like to socialize without being constantly exposed to adult advertisements, corrupt content, and racial or offensive comments about Islam and Muslims. And that means some rules. There's no swearing, no sex or violent content, and in posting pictures, folks must observe Muslim rules of modesty. For women, that means the hijab or headscarf must be worn in all photos. Despite the strict code of conduct, which has, for example, seen one member thrown off for using the word crap, MuslimSpace has 12,000 members and counting. That's it for today, and until tomorrow, I will be contemplating the question: TV or not TV?